Hello guys, it's Peter and Eddie from PS Sound, and this is now the next part of this Suzuki project where, as you can see, we had to pull the dash out. So you will see how we attacked it and what we do when it comes to the mid-range installation. So this is how far Eddie got in a couple of hours, and
now the nightmare.
Now the nightmare, because he noticed that there's one trick in this car, but it's kind of stupid to put that screw there. It really feels like then they really had to put it in with the crash bar and the whole wiring harness and then do it magically. In few cars we had this. The Chrysler 300C was bad. That was bolted to the crash bar so badly that the whole crash bar had to come, so the steering wheel had to drop. In this car, we hope not to do that, because they put a hidden screw underneath, right there. You can see the plastic going to that bracket, and there's a screw right there behind. So we can get to this on this side. On the other side it's a bit trickier, and hopefully that's that, and after that it's gonna slide. But it's understandable why people don't want to do a dash build, because it's just too dramatic. It takes too much fiddle and attention, especially when things have to be put back to. So after we took those bolts out, which were from the back through these brackets each side, then the dash started to slide easy, because on the top it only sits into those holes. That's what locates the dash in place. Clips. And then just few cables which were annoying to get out, and how to put especially that one back for the clock is going to be funny. But
yeah, you can't really put the clip back on, but we'll see. We'll do our best.
Yeah. So what's the first dash pull out for you, Eddie?
Well, it's a simple car, you know.
Well, that's for sure.
Just by looking at it, you realize that the crash bar needs to stay in place, because you have all the cables, the fan for, say, what's the name of this thing?
The heater. Yeah. And that's the reason when people were asking us why we didn't soundproof the firewall.
It's a nightmare.
Fair enough. This is a single layer firewall, and as I mentioned in soundproofing video as well, if you want a quiet car, start with one that has dual layer firewall, so it's quieter. You can't hear the engine by default from factory. You could treat this firewall, but still it wouldn't make such a big difference, and how much work it would come with, it would be an absolute nightmare, because to get to the firewall you have to take the whole heater element out, but that doesn't come out from the cabin. You have to unbolt it from the engine bay.
Yeah.
Because it gets bolted from there, and then to take that one out, crash bar.
Yeah, steering column. Yes,
I had to take crash bar out and everything, but it's honestly, it's not worth it. The car became so much quieter already. And we just accept that this is a cheap car. It's good enough for the demonstration, what we want to do in this. So what did you find difficult in it? Because actually, as you've done it the first time, yes, you have great skill set and experience.
Access to some bolts.
That was the only difficulty, really.
Those two bolts here. The head unit was a nightmare, surprisingly, because I had to access some bolts from underneath the dash in the middle of it. So that was a nightmare, especially on this side, because you have all those bits here. So I had to somehow access it. Other than that, my only advice is take it slowly. Don't pull things, don't break anything.
People worry about plugs, but there's not a single car where you would find two plugs the same. Every single plug is individual, so it will go back. It's just a question of how you route the cables back so the dash slides back correctly. That's some sort of sensor. I'm not too sure what that does. That was also hidden underneath the dash.
Probably temperature sensor, because you have digital climate controls. Temperature sensor, that's what it looks like, and it's full of dust.
So here we go. This is when now we start to work on the dash and we go crazy. At least you can hear Eddie's beautiful phone playing in the background, because here in UK getting hold of anyone on the phone is impossible. So I thought to take a video at this stage to show you what's going to happen. It's literally a 1 minute job to cut the holes for the mids. That's the easiest part. So we had to measure up to make them symmetrical. So I taped up, measured up both sides, and then we used that also tasty sizer, and these rings were also made to the exact size of that with like a millimeter tolerance. So when I cut a clean hole, this is going to drop in, we can fiber fill it in. But we also have to have a look at the clearance in the car, what's underneath. At the dash there's nothing underneath actually, so that's good. We are not going to lose any vents or anything like that, but when it comes to the steelwork, it was important to have a look, and if we have clearance issues then we have to cut a little bit in the car as well, but we will leave that for later. I didn't want to take it any closer to the windscreen for the reason that when you have to work on the driver, you have to bolt it in. If you are so close, you just can't get to the bolt at all. So I pulled it away for a bit, and then now people could ask, you know, Pete, what about aiming? Should we aim it, the touch? It's not going to make such a big difference. The distance from the windscreen, from the central point of the driver, is what matters the most. Obviously, yes, push it as far in the corner as you can, but if you drop it in, it will work just fine. So we are ready for the cut. So here we go. It took literally, what, 5 minutes to cut these out, clean them up. And as I said, because the rings were made spot on to the size of the hole, look, it's perfectly sitting in, even without holding it with anything, it sits in firm.
There you go, you can leave them as they are, put the speakers in, that's it, good to go.
Yeah, exactly. As you can see, there's a small step here, but that will be fine because the idea will be the same thing what we did in the Insignia. So we will have to fill this gap, and at the end we will have probably a 3D printed ring sitting around the driver that will come down. It will be trimmed so it will sit on, and it will make it tidier, nice and simple, nothing crazy. Yeah, something like that. There you go. Daddy's having a bit of orgasm. Come on, show your cable. Show your cable.
There you go. Such a beauty.
Nicely terminated, protected with spades sliding on.
But I don't know if they fit or not.
You haven't tried?
No.
Great. Well, you will. Yeah. It's going to go tightly, not yet. Once we put it in, it will be tightly put.
One is in, and the other one will go in as well, but
Easy peasy.
lemon squeezy.
Yes, actually, I was asked yesterday how we make these cables. And I don't think I've had a separate video showing. Oh, come on, would you focus on it? We haven't had a separate video showing how we deal with braided sleeving and all that. It's not magic, to be fair.
Oh, you're still recording me?
Yeah, of
struggling to fit
course.
this connector.
Exactly, it's tight. That's what it has to be. Then it's not going to slide off.
That's
People
what we
hate these
said.
connectors. I have no issue with it. Once it's put on properly, it's staying there. Like in the old cabinets, they've been on for like 40, 50 years and they are solid.
I'm not gonna put it on,
Yeah, not
because
bad.
I'm gonna struggle to put it, to take it off.
Yeah. So we want to have a look at this dash. So I'll just turn this music down before YouTube plays funny with me. So the rings had to be made from 24mm ply, because at the front we need that, as the dash has that shape, but at the back it would have created too much of a tunnel, so I cut it out, as you could see from the time lapse, with a lot of smoke. We cut that back, so this way the mid-range driver has a better chance to breathe. So it was now super glued in place. This area is carved up, the plastic, and now I can do the fiber feel to bond that ring properly to the dash, and then we can add weight to it. We can add the usual milkshake steel and all the fancy things on each side, and then we have to deaden the whole piece. So we stop here for a second. What you could see from the time lapse, that now the rings were also fiber filled in place, so it's not just super glued. So it's not going to go anywhere, that's for sure. I was planning to do steel shot milkshake, all that madness, but to be fair, this car has to be kept a little bit simpler. It's already an extreme way of installing a mid-range. Yes, then now we could say if the dash is out, why wouldn't you deal with all of that? But maybe because it is 12:30 and this car has to be fully functional on the road tonight. So if anything, so what I'm gonna do now is just deaden everything, deaden the whole dash underneath, and that should do enough. So until I was deadening the dash from underneath, as you can see, Eddie got on the case to isolate the vents because they are the flimsiest, thinnest plastic on the planet. And where they can possibly touch each other, a bit of isolation definitely helps to avoid any rattle, or where these pieces are clicking to each other, then, you know, if you have a bit of going over, holding it together, that definitely helps. So now when we put it on in place, then nothing is going to have a chance to rattle. Now we need to record a part of it. At least people have an idea about how fun it is to put bolts back upside down.
It was even funnier when I took them out because I didn't know where they are. That was easy job.
You know the positions.
Are you taking pictures or recording?
Of course, I'm taking video of you struggling there, you know.
And there's another one.
Yep, that's the way.
Huh.
We are almost there, but I thought to show the mid-range. So even through the windscreen you can see we have beautiful airspace underneath it, all the way down. This was my only concern, that we might be too close to this edge, but actually we have probably 10 mil away from it. The driver has a beautiful design that it gets really narrow towards the bottom. And look, actually, if anything, this is too open. In most cars, the bottom of the dash is closed down pretty well, so we wouldn't have much coming back. In this one, I may have to do something about it. Because on that side, at least, we have the heater elements, we have the glove box and things like that, so it's not gonna leak back that much. But on this side, it's pretty open all the way down. It's just so much room. Look, you can see from underneath, which is great. And we have also noticed today that we have room for something beautiful, which is gonna be another part. For now, it's gonna stay like this, and then we will do the trim rings for the mids at another later stage. I actually forgot to take footage of the speakers in place in the workshop, and this is at a later stage when the car is actually at home and it already has a system in it which works now. With tweeters, as you can see, just banged into the pillars. That's not final, just so they can play. And we have on-the-seat drivers for the time being. The Focal iSub drivers just dropped in, so it's already functional. And hopefully we can find time again to carry on and install the mid bass in the car. That's going to be the next part. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel and this playlist, then please do so you won't miss the next one, and hopefully I can bring the next one very soon. Take care.